Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the I Alpha Project. Today we're going to touch on kings and queens. We're all looking for that person, our soulmate, if you want to put it that way, that ideal partner that we want to share our lives for, our queen or our king. And so many times you see on social media and everywhere else, people are like searching for my king. I'm going to be the queen. But the reality is, are you one of those things? Like you are looking to meet a king or a queen, but whether we should be focused on becoming a king or a queen. Nowadays, we seem to be very focused on what somebody else can do for us. I think we should be focused on how much better we can become within ourselves. What are we able to offer our future king or queen? And the reality is, like in a quote, like let's go back into the old days. You'd have a castle, and there'll be a king and a queen, and the people, the jesters, the jokers, everyone else there will treat a queen like a queen. They have to. There's no alternatives. And I'm sure she feels great about it and has a responsibility to her subjects, but it still doesn't feel as good as when a king treats her like a queen. So we can even relate that to our idols or people that we admire. When they give us a compliment, it always has that little bit extra depth of impact. It has that impact. And I think when we're doing this, we need to understand that it comes with the responsibility that we have in order to make sure that we're the right king or queen for our partner. And I think there's the desire there because we want to help, we want to make their lives better, enrich their experience, and in so doing, enrich them. So this is not just all about giving, it's more focused on connecting to ourselves. So what we want to attract, we have to first become. The interesting part is when we do find our king and queen, do we treat them like a king or queen? And I had this analogy with my daughter a while back, and we were talking about martial arts. And now I've been listening to James Nunn's Unleashed podcast, and he comes from a BJJ background and he deals with men's health and martial arts. And he did this fantastic interview with Richard Norton. And in it, they were talking about the benefits of martial arts, but from a character's perspective, like how it develops us as human beings, but harnesses our humbleness and our respect. And the one thing is about martial arts, just as Richard Norton had mentioned in that interview, two people are having this acknowledgement of going into the ring, especially from a sporting perspective or training perspective. We're going to roll, we're going to get on the mat, but there's this sense of respect. There's also rules and regulations too. We just don't go doing low blows, cheating. There's always this respect for the arena, for your opponent. And I don't think that's any different from an argument. Personally, going into an argument with my partner, I go in to understand the point of view, establish my ground and boundaries, but all the while with respect to my partner. I don't go throwing low blows. I don't cheap shots, aggravate her, physically throw her out the ring just so I can score points because I've pushed her off the ring rather than dealing with the argument. Dealing with the argument, when two fighters go into it, it's very simple. It's I want to test my skills against somebody that has good skills, and we're going to both learn from each other in the process. And it doesn't matter who wins or loses that fight. At the end of the day, I can guarantee you both people will walk away as learners. They would have both learned something new. Uh, it's about always being open to taking in new knowledge and new experiences, and mostly learning more about ourselves so that we can become that king or queen. And the same thing applies when we go into an argument or a discussion with our partners. Is your focus in that discussion to be right or not to be proven wrong? Or is your purpose in that discussion to reach an amicable solution, which is what a king or a queen would do if there was conflict between states or whatever the case is? So you want to reach the most peaceful, grounded solution while maintaining your ground and your integrity. But in order to maintain that, you have to give that. So, guys, I think rather than spending our time looking for the person that's going to change who we are and help us feel better about who we are, the more we focus on ourselves and become that person, especially for ourselves, then I believe that equips us with the skills that we need when we make the choice to be someone's partner and accept the responsibilities that come with that. If we can give it to ourselves correctly, then we'll be able to give that patient, compassion, and understanding to our king or queen. And in doing so, attract somebody who will do the same for us. So I think turn it inwards, bring out that inner alpha, understand that you have absolute power and control. No, it's not an easy process. I've made many mistakes along the way. I will continue to make them because I'm always open to learning. But I have become a better sparring partner, if you should say, in the world of discussions. But I'm still learning. I think that's the one thing I also teach my children is in a discussion with their partners. They're still young, so they're still learning how to communicate. But rather than become avoidant, I want them to stay in the pocket, be aware of the emotions that arise in a discussion, understand that their feelings are their own responsibilities, not their partners, accepting that, being able to express that calmly and compassionately. And I mean, that's the trick, right? When you're in that moment, when you're at that moment, we can do it quite easily. When you're in the mood for gym, it's easy to go. But it's when you're not that you have to have that discipline and that self awareness to control that. And if we allow our emotions to run away with us, or we run away with our emotions, I should say, we're giving our emotions permission to take control over us. And our emotions are most of the time predominantly based on an old belief, an old thought that creates that emotion, an old perspective. So we're pretty much allowing someone to pretty much fuck with us ourselves. So I guess being in those moments, understanding that that's the only way you'll get better with it and reaching compassion and taking total accountability. Guys, I know it's tough to hear, but yeah, the thing is we need to reflect back on ourselves. And in that case, become the king to attract your queen and be a queen to attract your king. Wishing you all the best for the next episode.